Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oxford High School, where the high school boys are swimming against both Romeo and Notre Dame Prep. Let's see how they fare. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into the very first event, and that is the 200 medley relay. And this is a relay, for those of you that don't know, that consists of all of the strokes. So people are going to jump in, they're going to start swimming backstroke, breaststroke, and then butterfly, and then they end in freestyle. It's a 50 yards, 2 lengths of the pool in every stroke. In lane 1, we have Oxford, Caleb Watson, Jr., Matt Sabadak, sophomore, Ethan Madison, senior, and Austin Foster, a junior. In lane 4, Oxford, Zach Beatty, sophomore, Ben Datsko, sophomore, Carson Wolf, freshman, and Carter Pollard, junior. In lane 6, we have Nathaniel Johnston, a freshman, Zach Allian, junior, Cole Bukowski, sophomore, and Alex Olheiser, a senior. Lane 7, Oxford, Lachlan Pomrose, senior, Cameron Mumbrew, junior, Randy Puff, junior, and Garrett Blaylock, junior. And then finally in lane 8, we have Oxford, Colby Prace, freshman, Peyton Nagar, junior, Callum Gross, freshman, and Ryan Kuklinski, sophomore. Now the trick in the backstroke, the furthest out you can go without actually stroking, like when you dive off and you start kicking underwater, the person that kicks longest has the most advantage. It looks like lane 4, Oxford, Zach Beatty, freshman, is in the lead with a very close second in Romeo in lane 3. Looks like it's a tie between Oxford and Romeo at the moment, and we're going to the breaststroke. Now they're stroking fast, which is a very good thing. You want to get your back out of the water as far as possible. 2-hand touch and a turn. Stay under water as long as possible and then come out. I'm seeing some very good technique, and Oxford is ahead by just a touch. And now we have Carson Wolf in the butterfly in lane 4. And Oxford now has a pretty solid lead, but Romeo could still take it. In butterfly, you have to have a very strong upper body strength in order to do it. It's a very hard stroke. It takes a lot of practice. And here we go into the freestyle. And this is Carter Pollard. This is Oxford's A relay in lane 4. It looks like they're going to win. Here we go into the turn and out. Very powerful, good form, so that's good. And Oxford comes in first. Oxford's A relay. And nope, I was mistaken. Lane 3 is actually Notre Dame Prep. This is a double dual meet, which means that Oxford is actually going against 2 teams at the same time. So right now, we're swimming against Romeo and Notre Dame Prep. And it looks like Notre Dame Prep came in second and Romeo in third. I actually didn't catch that, so we'll see. Occasionally the times can be off on the board because the equipment, it's easy to misread. And here we go into the 200-yard freestyle. Now there's 2 heats in this event, and the first heat is all Oxford. We have Max Jensen Jr. and Ryan Kuklinski. There you go, sophomore. This is a fast event and arguably one of the most difficult. Swimmers really typically don't like to swim the 200 free, but I mean, it really is a matter of preference. And the reason it's so tricky is because it's right on the cusp of being a distance event. So you have to treat it with the strategy of a distance event, but still you have to sprint and go hard because it's too short to be taken slowly at the beginning. So you really have to sprint the whole way. So now they're transitioning. They might be discussing some possible disqualifications at the moment because it's very easy to get disqualified in medley relays and in a lot of different strokes that involve two-handed touches. So when the breaststrokers and the butterflyers reach the end of the pool, they have to touch with both hands. And also at the same time, it's easy to get disqualified in a relay because if a person takes off before the person in the water has touched the bulkhead, then it's a disqualification. You can't jump off before your person's touched the finish. You can see a couple of swimmers getting ready for the 200 relay and 200 freestyle, and seems the timers and the administrators are still going over disqualifications. And here we go, moving on. This is an all Oxford event. And they're off. Well, no matter what happens in this race, Oxford wins. But there we go, we're off to some strong starts. That's good. And into the first turn. So now they're going into their very first 50. At this point, you're feeling strong, you're feeling good, you're probably should be at a rhythm right now. As soon as you dive in, you start swimming, you find yourself in a rhythm. And that rhythm is going to help carry you through your event. If you don't have that rhythm, so many kicks per pull, then the whole kind of stroke falls apart. For those of you swimming buffs, if you can look at their form, you can kind of see how they're not really stretching out their stroke as much as they could. When you're swimming, you're supposed to be stroking as if you are trying to reach, I say trying to reach something on the top shelf without a stool. You're stepping on your very tiptoes, and you're reaching and you're twisting your body and trying to turn it, and so you can reach the highest point. You're trying to reach very far. And they're kind of cutting it. They're not purposefully doing this. It's just a lack of experience. And I think with time and experience, these two swimmers will really be able to get some really good strokes in there. And the kicking needs to be strong as well while you're doing this, because you'd be surprised how much strength is in the legs. And a lot of swimmers let the kicking fall to the wayside because, well, to be honest, I can't really tell you why. It just ends up happening. I guess it's because it's not what you're focused on. You're focusing on the pain and not trying to breathe and getting your stroke right. That kicking kind of falls to the wayside. And it's just it's a consistent, but see, the coaches are now saying legs, kick, move. When you start kicking fast, that's when you're putting a lot of power behind your stroke. It's a lot of extra power that swimmers have and they don't really use. So here we go into Heat 2 of the 200 freestyle. In lanes 4, 7, and 8, there's Oxford. Nathaniel Johnston in lane 4, a freshman. Cameron Mumbrew in lane 7, a junior. And Lachlan Palmrose in lane 8, a senior. Watch here, watch their dive, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to see how strong their dives are. Those were some pretty decent starts. Not the worst I've ever seen, but also, unfortunately, not the best. It looks like lane 4, our very own Nathaniel Johnston is swimming very quickly. If you can see his stroke, and he does have a rhythm to his stroke, but it's also kind of putting him at a disadvantage because he limps. And it's not due to a sort of injury or anything. I mean, it could be, but most likely it is due to just the way he's practiced swimming. You want to really even out the stroke. He's cutting himself off in his left arm because he's cutting it in very close to the water while his right arm is going further out. But even still, he should really stretch out his arms and kick a little harder, I think. And it seems as if lane 5, Johnny Pirau of Romeo, is now passing him. But we'll see if Nathaniel Johnston can take that back. And here we go into the 150. It's a lot harder than it looks, folks. Sometimes even when it looks like a swimmer is not swimming quickly, they really are. They're really working hard. Wow. To be neck and neck like this is really stressful on both of those guys. And here's the defining moment. You can hear all the boys cheering for their team. Looks like Romeo's going to win this one. And sure enough, Romeo takes first, and Nathaniel Johnston, a freshman, takes second. So it's very impressive for a freshman. And in lane 2, we have third place, senior, Trevor Owens from Romeo, takes third. Even still, these are some very impressive times we're seeing.
Johnny, ask the timer for the time. The time. Yeah, it showed it up there and he thought it was a 150. Because it didn't trigger at his 150, so when he finished, it looked like his 150 time. It was 150.
Right now, the coaches were just talking about how that there's a touch board that I don't know if you can see, but right below the starting block, there's a touch board, and it has a slightly slow reaction time. So when the swimmers touch and they finish their race, it takes a second for it, or it takes maybe less than a second, obviously. A second's a long time in terms of swimming. But it takes a little bit for it to register the time, so the times on the board are ever so slightly off. All right, and now we're going into the 200-yard IM. And that is, let's see, only one heat. And we've got 4 people from Oxford swimming. In lane 1, we have Matt Sabadak, a sophomore. In lane 4, Cole Bukowski, sophomore. In lane 6, Zach Allian, junior. And in lane 7, Ethan Madison, a senior. And here we go with 2 lengths of the pool. Butterfly is how it begins. And then after they finish their 2 lengths of the pool butterfly, they go into backstroke and then breaststroke and freestyle. I'm seeing some really strong strokes here. That's very good. It looks like Giuseppe Frigoli from Notre Dame Prep is in first place. But with a very close second is our very own Cole Bukowski. And I was mistaken. I was looking at the wrong name. Lane 3 in first place is Sam Burek from Notre Dame Prep. And right now you can see the boys kind of waving. They're telling the boys to kick harder. Oh, their strokes almost perfectly matching. We'll see who's the better breaststroker. Now, Cole Bukowski has some ground to make up, and the breaststroke is a very hard event because it's the slowest stroke. It's hard to perfect. The kick that they make you do is very much like a frog, and you have your thighs together and you kick below the knee. You swing your calf, your leg below the knee out, and then bring it in to your ankle. So in first place still Sam Burek from Notre Dame Prep, and in second place Cole Bukowski. And we're heading into the freestyle. Wow, very good form by Cole Bukowski. Still looks very smooth, and it's harder than it looks, ladies and gentlemen. It may, just because you're not seeing a lot of white water doesn't mean the swimmer's not working hard. That was some very nice, impressive form by all swimmers involved. So Sam Burek takes first from Notre Dame Prep, and Cole Bukowski takes second for Oxford. And I believe third place, because I wasn't watching very closely, but I believe third place was Jack Collins from Romeo in lane 5. Now the next event is the 50-yard freestyle. There's 3 heats. And the first heat is all Oxford. In lane 2, we have oh my word, I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher his name. Nick Legender, I believe it is, a freshman. Gregory Cook in lane 3, sophomore. Owen Avey in lane 4, freshman. Owen Hillary in lane 5, freshman. And Andrew Cobble in lane 6, also freshman. Now the 50 freestyle is just 2 lengths of the pool freestyle. This is a sprint, and most coaches advise you not to breathe for the entire 50. I was only able to do it a couple of times in high school. And just in shorter events, technique is very important. Like the start and the turn are imperative to winning a sprint. Now, the key to a good start is pulling yourself down far enough on the block and launching yourself up and out. It has a sort of arch. You don't want to flop into the pool. You don't want to go be looking down. Actually, a lot of swimmers will tell you to try to aim for the flags. My dad swam and almost made the Olympics, or almost made the Olympic trials more accurately. And he said that when he swam in states and against national swimmers, he would try to dive and reach and touch the flags every time he dove. And you can see how far away that is. I mean, that's a very, very impressive feat. Of course, I don't think he was ever able to do it. And here we go. And they're off. A lot of white water. You can see him sprinting hard. It's hard to tell who's in first at the moment. Looks like lane 5, our Owen Hillary, a freshman, is in first. Oh, and now it's changed. Lane 4 is now in the lead. Owen Avey, also freshman. Okay. Lane 4, lane 5, lane 6, I believe, was the order of 1, 2, and 3. So it's Owen Avey in first, Owen Hillary in second, and Andrew Cobble in third, all Oxford. Here we go in Heat 2. In lane 2, we have Austin Foster. In lane 4, Caleb Watson. In lane 6, Colby Prace. In lane 7, Callum Gross. Now, this is a slightly faster heat. As you go further and further into the heats, you'll see them getting increasingly faster.
Come on, Adrian. Come on, John.
All right, we're going into a transition now. Here we go. They're really swimming hard. They're trying not to breathe, because if you breathe, you're taking time away from, you're breaking your speed in the water because you're breaking your form. The goal is to make yourself like a torpedo in the water. It looks like lane 4 is going to take first. I don't think he's breathed this entire time. Oh, first breath maybe second. But that was Caleb Watson, a junior, that came in first. Now the time up there says 27:10 and 27.1. That's a very fast time. That's very impressive. Just for reference, the 50 freestyle record for men's varsity is a 21:95. All right, and we're going into Heat 3. In lane 1, we have Garrett Blaylock, a junior. In lane 4, Carter Pollard, junior. And in lane 7, Randy Puff, junior. The fastest seed time I see on this sheet here is a 23.54. Now that is the seat time of Carter Pollard in lane 4. And we'll see if he can beat that. If he can, I mean, that's very, very hard to beat. That's a very fast time. every swimming event here, regardless of how the people actually perform and how they place, swimmers really want to see them just improve their own best time. As long as you're improving your time, you're shaving off 1/10 of a second here, or maybe half a second there, or you did a better start that time, or you did a better turn that time. That's a better event, and you want to be proud of that. It's these small personal victories that really make swimming a great sport. Because it makes you work so hard for those, because they're not easy to achieve. All right, it seems like we're making some slight changes to the schedule. Just the judges are talking a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how Oxford fares against both of these teams. You know, which of all of these three teams are going to do the best. Oxford's doing very well. I think they're going to score well because they have a lot of swimmers. There's a great number of them, so just by the very nature of how many people there are, they're just going to score, I think, a ton of points. And we're having a lot of experienced swimmers in this next heat. We've got a lot of juniors and seniors, and because again, this is the fastest heat. So this is the one I really want you to look at their starts and their turns. You're gonna watch them, and they're not gonna breathe much at all. Maybe they'll breathe once or twice, if that. And the turns are imperative. The more power you throw into your turn, the faster you'll jump off. When I was swimming, I would always try and make the biggest splash when I flung my legs over to turn against the wall, because I knew that if I was making a big splash, that meant I was putting a lot of power into my turns, and they were really efficient.
Hi, Randy. That's it. Hi, timers.
They're waving hi to their coach over here, just to pass the time. Looks like they're about to begin. All right, let's see how they do. Let's see if Carter Pollard can beat his 23.54.
Go.
Got some very powerful starts there. All right, you're seeing the wake around the boys swimmers. Those are very powerful turns. It's very good. Wow, it looks like there's going to be, I don't know if lane 3 or lane 4 is going to take it. Oh, wow.
No idea.
Oh, it's hard to say when it gets that close. When it gets this close, sometimes, again, the clocks are slightly off, so it's hard to tell who got first, but I think it's safe to say that Carter Pollard took first for Oxford.
We're going to have a little change to our schedule tonight. We're going to take a 10-minute break at this time.
All right, and now we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back with the 500 freestyle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a slight change of plans. I think it was what happened is that one of the diving coaches didn't get here until now, so they have had to rearrange the events a little bit. Instead of taking the 10-minute break and going straight into diving after the 50 freestyle, as was usually happens, we are now taking a break and we're skipping the diving, and we're going straight into the 100 butterfly. And then right after the 500 freestyle, I believe, is when we'll do diving. I think that's what's going to happen. It's still kind of up in the air, but I believe that is what's going on. And there is only one heat of the 100 butterfly, and we have Oxford in lanes 2, 4, and 6. We have Ethan Madison in lane 2, senior, Ben Datsko in lane 4, sophomore, and Zach Allian in lane 6, a junior. So here we go. They're just letting the swimmers know, and they're all getting ready for their events now. It's kind of daunting because they were mentally prepared to have a break before their event, and now they have to suddenly completely change, and they have to go, oh no, I'm racing right now. So that's a bit stressing. It's a bit stressful psychologically. Here we go into the first length. Now lane 4 has got excellent butterfly form. He's able to pull himself almost fully out of the water, almost his entire back, completely out of the water, and that's what you want. The more you are out of the water, the more your body's out of the water, the less resistance you're going to have from the water. Hence, that's why it's better. And he's got a good rhythm. And typically you're not supposed to breathe every stroke, but the standard is breathing every other stroke, but it's hard. Typically people do end up breathing every stroke because it's so hard. In first place, looks like the uncontended first place is going to be Ben Datsko, sophomore. And in second place we have Jordan Hinckley from Romeo. And in third, we have our very own Zach Allian, the junior. These are excellent times. Lane 4 did a killer butterfly time. Just so you have a frame of reference, he did a 57 seconds and 57:15, and the record here is 54:41. Just only 3 seconds faster, so you can really see how fast that is. And now we're heading into the 100 freestyle, the first heat of the 100 freestyle. And the first heat is almost entirely Oxford, save 2 people, one from Notre Dame Prep and one from Romeo. I'll list their names in a moment, but I think they're about to start the event. All right, in lane 1, we have Owen Avey, freshman. Lane 2, Andrew Cobble, freshman. In lane 4, Max Jensen, junior. In lane 6, Ryan Kuklinski, sophomore. In lane 7, Gregory Cook, sophomore. In lane 8, Nick Legender, freshman. All right, we've got some nice, smooth strokes from everybody so far. Some pretty good turns. All right, we're heading into the final 50. Not only do you want, in this sprint, not only do you want to have good form, good rhythm, good tempo, but you want to have a very fast tempo. And in the more competitive events, like in the Olympics, you'll see how insanely fast these sprinters' tempos are. All right, it looks like, I think lane 4 took first. And that is, who is that? Max Jensen, a junior. Congratulations, Max. Very good. With a 1:02. That's a very good time. And here we go into heat 2 of the event. In lanes 1, 4, 7, and 8, they're Oxford. We have Peyton Nagger, a junior, in lane 1. Carson Wolf, a freshman, in lane 4. Randy Puff, a junior, in lane 7. And Austin Foster, a junior, in lane 8. We have the same event, just second heat, which just means this is a faster event. Or the faster heat, rather. Here we go. We still got people walking up onto the bulkhead, so we're still getting ready. And the swimmers for the 500 freestyle are beginning to warm up and getting kind of nervous, because immediately after this we go into the 500 free. Looks like a pretty full house today, considering we've got 3 teams worth of parents up there. And we have a lot of swimmers ready to swim the 100. So in this sprint, you're going to see, again, solid start. You want a solid turns. Not breathing so much because it's a sprint. And a lot of white water and a fast tempo. All right, we have Carson Wolf in lane 4 in the lead with a very solid start. I think he only breathed 3 times in that first length. And in the second one, he's got a pretty solid lead. Again, he's maintaining it. He's kicking hard, stroking fast. This is exactly what you want to see. That was a fast turn, very powerful, made a lot of splash. And this is the hardest length right here because this is not yet the final length, but it's still so tiring. Now we go into the final sprint. Wow, this is a very fast time. This is very, very fast for Carson Wolf. Wow, his split was a 26.56. That means that he swam the final 50 of the event in almost 26.56 seconds. And that time was a 51.05. That's smoking fast. Our record is a 47.34, but the one who set that record, he's now swimming in, I think, a Division I college in Pennsylvania, I believe. So that's an insanely, insanely fast time. And here we go into the 500 freestyle. And you'd be surprised. You'd think that this would be the event that made all swimmers, have nightmares, but it's actually not so. The distance swimmers really like their distance events. And it's because, there's a bunch of jokes that you can not take it so fast at the beginning, but that's not true. You do have to take it strong and very hard in the beginning, and it takes a lot of strategy to be able to win. You have to budget out your strength and your energy, so to speak, to be able to win. And these people have a lot of endurance to be able to do what they do. For the boys, I'm not sure what an excellent time for the boys are. I would say perhaps anything within a 5-minute range, 5 or 6 minutes, maybe not even 6 minutes, maybe 5.5. Because our record is 4:49, and that's another really, really fast time. So I think a pretty decent time for a boy is maybe even a little bit past 6. Maybe like 6:15 and faster. But again, it doesn't really matter how you place. It really just matters what you do to your own personal best. Have you shaved off a second here or there? And if you improve technique, if you improve your stroke, that could benefit you dividends in these distance events, because whatever problem you have in your stroke, if you mend it, you're saving a second. Maybe let's say you save a tenth of a second for every single lap. There's 20 laps, so you're saving 2 seconds right there, and that's a lot of time in a pool. 2 seconds is a lot of time in a pool. It's harder than you think to drop a second. And the more experienced, the faster you are, the harder it is to shave off your time, because you're already doing everything you're supposed to be doing if you're good. So that makes it harder. So the less experienced swimmers improve much quicker. Here we go into our only heat of the 500 free. All right, of all the 7, nope, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people swimming today, the 500 free. And in lane 4, we have Zach Beatty, a sophomore. In lane 6, Cameron Mumbrew, junior. And in lane 7, Alex Olheiser, senior. Looks like Zach Beatty's taking it out. He's it's a solid stroke. He's kicking hard. He's kicking consistently, which is good. But you can see how he's also stroking fully. While he's not stroking so fast, he's doing a complete full, and he's taking his time with the stroke.
Come on, Beatty, you got it.
He's establishing a rhythm for himself to keep. It's part of that whole strategy thing I said earlier, budgeting your energy. And even still, that split was a very fast split. It was a 29:32, and that means that he swam that whole thing in 29 seconds. There are swimmers that, on their best day, cannot swim a 29 and a 50 free. They wouldn't be very experienced. They'd be fairly new to the sport, but still, it just goes to show you what an experienced swimmer Zach Beatty must be if he's able to swim 29 in his first 50 so easily. And that second 50 was another 29.79. So he's pretty consistent about this too. I think he's going to win. Of course, I'm speaking too soon. In a distance event, there's no way to tell, but
Pick it up. Pick it up.
I was just interrupted for a moment. I'm standing right next to the Oxford coach, and she was just telling Zach Beatty to pick up the pace just a touch. It really helps when you're able to look at a coach and get some pacing advice from them. And you can see he's kind of picked up his stroking tempo, and his kicking has increased. And this is the whole pacing advice thing is something that the counters can do as well. If you can see when Zach reaches the end of the pool, you'll see the counters, and they're sticking in numbers in the pool to help the swimmer know how many laps he has completed. And if you just set it in the water, there's actually tricks to tell the person swimming how fast they're going or how fast they should be going. So if you just leave the counter in there and you don't move it around at all, that's letting the swimmer know that he has got a solid pace that doesn't need to be improved or slowed down. If you're shaking the counter fast, that's telling the swimmer to speed it up. And if you're kind of swinging it lazily from side to side, it's telling your swimmer to slow it down. You're taking it too hard, you're going to tire yourself out too quickly. And of course, it depends on the person. You know, it's not consistent a person's endurance obviously is not consistent from person to person. So it's up to the counter to know the swimmer well. And so right now we've got Zach Beatty. He's swimming much harder now. And we're nearing the end of his 500 already. It's very fast. He's still got his rhythm, but now he's just improving the tempo of it. And the coaches are yelling at him from either side to tell him to keep up the pace and to swim faster. And now you can see he's kicking faster now, a little bit stronger. A very impressive race. And so now we're into our final 50. So now this is all-out sprint for Zach. And here we go onto our final length for Zach Beatty. And it looks like this is his first time swimming it for Oxford because he has no seed time on the heat sheet. Very impressive splits. He did a 29.56, and if you guys remember, that was one of his first splits as well. A 4:57 is an excellent time. Our record is a 4:49. 4:57 is very fast. And we still got a lot of great swimmers swimming here too. And I know that swimming in a pool with Zach Beatty is making them look like they're not swimming fast, but they really are. These are still fast times they're pulling. 5:10, that's a good time. I can't see anyone's seed time except for Cameron Mumbrew, a junior, and we'll see if he PR'd, did a personal record, and he did. Very good. Very good. A 5:42 is still a very good time. So everyone did under 6 minutes, and in the case of Zach Beatty, he did under 5. The one thing that's really great about being on a team, as supportive as as a swim team is, you get to be very close, and during your event, you've got everyone on the sides cheering for you and screaming for you, even if you're the last person in the pool. So it's very encouraging. And now I believe we're going into the diving. And let's see. I'm just flipping the sheets here so I can read their names.
All right, we're just getting prepped for our diving. We're going to switch back over to our diving. As a reminder, no flash.
All right, sure enough, we are going into diving. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 divers from Oxford. 2 from Romeo and none from Notre Dame Prep. Doesn't look like Notre Dame Prep has any divers, so this is all Oxford and Romeo. And now I will hand the microphone over to the swim meets announcer, and he will give you the details on diving. And he's going to list for you the dive that a person will do, their name, and tell them the scores. All right, so I will see you after the diving, ladies and gentlemen.
First from Oxford will be Cooper Schill, then from Oxford, Jacob Boris, from Romeo, Connor White, from Oxford, Michael Funk, from Romeo, we'll have Anthony Goichai, and from Oxford, Everett Gobert.
You're good to go? Yep.
All right, we're going to get started with our diving. As a reminder, once again, we will ask for quiet for our divers while they're on the board, and also no flash photography for our divers. Our first diver of the evening from Oxford, Cooper Schill. Cooper is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Swimmers, please take a seat next to the pool. We'll ask for quiet for the diving.
We need a quiet for diving, please. You hear that? We need a quiet for diving.
4, 3, 5, 4. Next diver from Oxford, Jacob Boris. Jacob is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Four, 5, 4, 4. Next diver from Romeo, Connor White. Connor is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Five, 5, 5, 5. Next diver from Oxford, Michael Funk. Michael is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Four, 3. Next diver from Romeo, we have Anthony Gochai. Anthony is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Four, 5. And last diver, Evan Cover. Oh, Evan is doing a 201C back dive tuck, difficulty 1.5. Six, 5, 5. Moving into our second round, Cooper is doing a 202C back one somersault tuck, difficulty 1.5. Four, 3, 5. Next diver, Jacob, is doing a 202A back one somersault straight, difficulty 1.7. Four, 5. Connor is doing a 202C back one somersault tuck, difficulty 1.5. 5-5-5-5. Next diver, Michael, is doing a 202A, back 1 somersault straight, difficulty 1.7. 1-5-3-4. Next diver, Anthony, is doing a 202C, back 1 somersault tuck, difficulty 1.5. Four, five, 4-5-5. Next diver, Evan, is doing a 202A, back 1 somersault straight, difficulty 1.7. Four, 3-5-5. Moving into the third round, Cooper is doing a 401C, inward dive tuck, difficulty 1.4. One, 5-2-5-2-5. Jacob is doing a 52-21D, back 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7. Five, 4-5-5. Connor is doing a 401B, inward dive pike, difficulty 1.5. Three, 4-5-4-5. Diver Michael is doing a 52-21D, back 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7. Five, 5-5-5. Next diver Anthony is doing a 301C, reverse dive tuck, difficulty 1.6. Five all. Next diver, Evan, is doing a 52-21D, back 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7.
It is nice, isn't it?
4-5, all. Moving to the fourth round, Cooper is doing a 101C forward dive tuck, difficulty 1.2. Jacob is doing a 402C, inward 1 somersault, tuck, difficulty 1.6. I forgot to announce this one. Rain this one. Four, 5, 4, 4. Diver Connor is doing a 103B, forward 1 1/2 somersault pike, difficulty 1.7. Five, 5, 6, 5, 5. Diver Michael is doing a 52-23D, back 1 somersault, 1 1/2 twist free, difficulty 2.3. No score. Next diver, Anthony, is doing a 103C, forward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, difficulty 1.6. Diver Evan is doing a 52-31D, back 1 1/2 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 2.1. Four, 5. Moving into our fifth round, Cooper is doing a 51-21D, forward 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7. Three, 5, 3. Jacob is doing a 403C, inward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. Three, 5, 4. Connor is doing a 51-21D, forward 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7. Five. Next diver, Michael is doing a 403C, inward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 4, 4, 4, 5. Next diver Anthony is doing a 104C, forward 2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 5, 5, 5, 4, 5. Evan is doing 403C, inward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5. Moving into our 6th and final round, we have Cooper doing a 103C, forward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, difficulty 1.6. 3, 5, 4, 3, 5. Jacob is doing a 104C, forward 2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 1, 3, 4. Connor is doing a 51-22D, forward 1 somersault, 1 twist free, difficulty 1.9. 4, 5, 5. Next diver Michael is doing a 104C, forward 2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 6, 5, 5, 5, 5. Next diver Anthony is doing a 51-21D, forward 1 somersault, 1/2 twist free, difficulty 1.7. 4, 5, 5, 4. And for our final dive, Evan is doing a 104C, forward 2 somersault tuck, difficulty 2.2. 4, 5, 4, 4, 5. Let's give a big hand for all our divers this evening.
We just got finished with the diving, and again, since there was an event change, we're going to get straight into the 200 freestyle relay. And in lanes 1, 4, 6, 7, and 8, we've got Oxford. So in lane 1, we have Oxford's E relay with Nick Legender, freshman, Gregory Cook, sophomore, Owen Hillary, freshman, Callum Gross, freshman, and I'll continue listing the rest once they start. In lane 4, we have Oxford's A relay with Cole Bukowski, sophomore, Carson Wolf, freshman, Carter Pollard, junior, and Zach Beatty, sophomore. In lane 6, we have Oxford's B relay, Nathaniel Johnson, freshman, Ethan Madison, senior, Zach Allian, junior, and Alex Olheiser, senior. In lane 7, we have Colby Prace, freshman, Matt Sabadak, sophomore, Max Jensen, junior, and Peyton Nagger, junior. In lane 8, Oxford again, Andrew Cobble, freshman, Owen Avey, freshman, Ryan Kuklinski, sophomore, and Austin Foster, junior. Now, what's interesting about these relays is that as opposed to a regular individual event, you don't have to touch the block at each start. You're allowed to have a winding start where you swing your arms behind you and you are able to get some momentum when you're about to do the exchange from one person to the next. Looks like lane 4 is already done with a 1:13.32. I don't know if that was a split. I don't know how accurate that was. I don't know. 1:13.32. Wow, that's a very fast time. Well, Oxford took first in that one. A very nice sprints from everyone. I saw some really great form, really strong kicking, and really fast strokes. And that's what you want to see in a sprint. You had strong flip turns and strong starts. And we might be seeing some disqualifications. I don't know. Because again, it's easy to get disqualified in those exchanges. If the person in the pool has not touched the wall before the next person starts, that's a disqualification. So the final person swimming from Oxford's E relay, and they touched. All right, so now we're going to the 100-yard backstroke. Heat 1 of 2 is all Oxford. We've got Callum Gross, freshman, and Owen Hillary, freshman, in lanes 4 and 5 respectively. So now we are transitioning into the 100 backstroke. And the backstroke is hard because if you don't establish a strong rhythm, you may end up being, one, much slower than you thought. Rhythm's very important in all of swimming, but especially so in backstroke. If your stroke is changed in any which way, well, let me backtrack. When people are swimming backstroke and they're about to do a flip turn, they count their strokes from the flags to the wall, and they count 1, 2, 3, and then or however many strokes it takes for them to reach the wall, they'll turn, and then they'll flip. And if it's off by any small amount, that will throw them off on their whole stroke. Looks like they're discussing something, maybe some possible disqualifications, or they're just taking a long time transitioning between events, which does happen. But we've got 2 people in the first heat of the 100 backstroke, both from Oxford. Lane 4, Callum Gross. Lane 5, Owen Hillary, both freshmen. We've got no seed time. No, I take that back. We have 1 seed time for Callum Gross with a 1:23.73. And it's easy for backstroke to be, for you to be a little bit flat in the water, and that's not what you want. In swimming, the goal is to make yourself as straight as possible and to take up as little area in the water as possible. That means when you're swimming backstroke, you don't want to be flat on the water. You want to be twisting and turning your torso so that your shoulder is touching your chin when you're taking a stroke. That reduces the amount of area that you have in the water and therefore reduces your resistance. So you can kind of see they've got sort of a motion to their body where they're turning their shoulders a little bit from side to side.
Move back so that you get to come and pull. Now I'm reading. Let that move back. The referee's going.
And here we go. We've got some pretty solid strokes going on. All right, and it looks like lane 4's split is going to be 40. If he holds that, that means he'll be able to do a 120. If he's able to pull that on his next 50. And the other swimmer, let's see, I'm forgetting their names. Oh, where am I looking? Okay, Owen Hillary in lane 5, in second place. He's kind of got each stroke out going from side to side. You want your arm to be touching your ear, your shoulder to be touching your ear more accurately. You can see the difference in lane 4 and lane 5 strokes. Oh, he didn't even touch the touchpad. So lane 4 didn't touch the touchpad, so that means that his time isn't going to register on the scoreboard. So it's just fully relying on the timers for that. All right, now we're heading into the second heat. In lane 4, we have Ben Datsko, a sophomore. In lane 7, Caleb Watson, junior. And in lane 8, Lachlan Palmrose, senior. These are going to be faster times. Our fastest seed right now is from Notre Dame Prep, and his seed time is 59:34. And our fastest Oxford seed time is 107:44. That is Mr. Ben Datsko in lane 4 competing with Lars Bohm in lane 3. I hope that's how it's pronounced. So we'll see how they do. In the backstroke start, you really want to arch your back and throw yourself up and then out, but it's imperative to get that height, and it's hard to because it takes a lot of upper body strength to do. If you watch the Olympics, their starts are impeccable. They're getting a lot of distance in each start. Watch them arch their backs and try to get that height. Looks like in lane 5 we have a girl. I don't see that on the heat sheet particularly, but maybe it was a last-minute replacement. And she's in first. But I don't know if it's going to count for the team or not. Oh, I was mistaken. Nope. Lane 6 is the one in first. It's easy to mix people. Nope, she is in third place. But first place for Oxford right now. Lane 6 is doing very well. That is Mr. Anthony Dupuis from Notre Dame Prep. And in second place, we have Oxford, Mr. Ben Datsko. And we'll see if he improved his time. It seems like there was a mistake on the scoreboard, the placing. But lane 4, if that's accurate, if that time is correct, that he did a 1 minute flat, or 1 minute and 0.76, then he beat his seed time by 7 seconds. That's very, very, very fast. That's a significant improvement. And now we're heading into our second to last event, and there's only one heat of the 100-yard breaststroke. Now, breaststroke is a tricky event because, again, I mentioned earlier about the kick. The kick is very unique and it's hard to master. Okay. All right, apparently one of the swimmers from Notre Dame Prep made a state cut for their 100 backstroke. So it's very, very impressive. Very good job. I think that's what they were just cheering about. I think it was Mr. Anthony Dupuis. Oh, my word. I'm so sorry, Mr. Anthony, for messing up your name. But congratulations on making your state cut. Those were some excellent starts by everybody involved. Now I just lost my train of thought because it's so loud down here. 2 hand touches by everyone, so that's good. Now the underwater stroking, it's in order to, I'm not really sure why it's regulation, but it's just how people have swum for years. And then we're going to do our first 75. And in lane 3, it looks like we have someone in first place, but lane 5 is catching up. And let's see. Lane 3 is Notre Dame Prep. Lane 5 is Romeo. Come on, Oxford. In lane 4, we've got Sam Burek. And he is what now seems to be Oxford's fastest breaststroker at the moment. Or at least in this heat. All right, looks like lane 3's touchpad didn't come through. He's kind of frustrated about that, but I think they got his time, so that's good at least. And lane 4, our Sam Burek did a 1:12, if that's accurate. And that's still a fast time, so very good job to all swimmers. And finally, we are going into our very last event, and this is a quick one. Every swimmer, it's a relay, a 400 freestyle relay, which means every swimmer is going to swim 100 yards freestyle. Now it's a sprint that's 4 lengths of the pool, and we've got 3 lanes, so that's good. Our A relay is in lane 4 with Carter Pollard, Jr., Cole Bukowski, sophomore, Zach Beatty, sophomore, and Carson Wolf, freshman. In lane 6, we have Oxford's B relay, Caleb Watson, Jr., Randy Puff, Jr., Alex Olheiser, senior, and Ben Datsko, sophomore. In lane 7, we have Oxford's C relay with Colby Price, freshman, Cameron Mumbrew, Jr., Max Jensen, Jr., and Lachlan Palmrose, senior.
Okay, we're on to our 12th and final event of the 400-yard freestyle relay.
Oh, lane 7, he slipped. And they had to make him stand up and do it again. We got some very powerful strokes, a very excellent start in lane 4 by Carter Pollard. Now we're going into our second lap, our first, the 50. Looks like Carter's establishing a pretty strong lead for the Oxford boys. He hasn't been breathing much through the first 50, so that's good. This is typically when you see them start breathing, is in the third length. Now, once he turns, that gives license to the boys on the near the block to stand up on the block and get ready to dive or get ready to start. Now they're preparing for the exchange in lane 4, and good. That looks legal. We got really powerful, strong swimmers here across the board. Now, the men's varsity and men's pool record is 321.54, and it looks like Oxford's A relay seed time is a 328.56. That's only, I know it's 7 seconds, and experienced swimmers can tell that's a really long time. It really is. 7 seconds is a lifetime in a sprint. But still, I mean, it's still very close at the same time because you're comparing it to other swimmers that are, or other relays that aren't able to go, I don't know, much faster than maybe like a 3:45. And here we are into our third leg, and that's Zach Beatty kicking very hard. It's very good. Oxford's A, B, and C relays are doing excellent, excellent starts, dives. I'm seeing some really good form always around. Very good job. And very impressive times. I'd be very surprised if Oxford didn't win this event. And here we go, Oxford's A relay is about to get ready for their exchange into the final 100. Looks like he's about to do a wind-up start. Sure enough.
Let's go, Jack boys! Let's go!
Now, if you see him breathe, he's barely, you're not going to be able to see it now because he's, oh no, wow. Okay, he's breathing on the other side. He's being even. He's breathing on both sides. That's something that you don't see that very often because swimmers typically like to favor one side of breathing. But if you see him breathe, he is barely moving his mouth outside the wake. And that's good because you want to turn your head as little as possible to eliminate any extra resistance that would occur when you're turning your head fully or you're lifting it out of the water. A 26.81 is a very good final split. Let's see what they got overall. 3:31.56, that's still a very good time. This time could have just been inputted by the coach to give an estimate of how fast they're swimming on my heat sheet here where it says they did it 3:28, or it really just was a much faster heat. But here it looks like they added about 3 seconds. Still an excellent job by Oxford. They swim very hard, very fast. Great job always around. And Oxford C relay just finishing, and in lane 2 we have Romeo finishing up too. All right, and that's the end of the meet. We will come back to you shortly with the results.
We do have the final scores for our tri-meet. So our first score between Notre Dame and Romeo. Notre Dame with a score of 61, Romeo with a score of 100. Next, Notre Dame versus Oxford. Notre Dame with a score of 44, Oxford with a score of 130. And finally, Romeo versus Oxford. Romeo with a score of 60, Oxford with a score of 126. Congratulations to all.